Good morning. At least it's morning over here on the West Coast. Welcome to today's Summer Mentoring Facebook Live. I'm Tanya Cottrell, Blue Diamond with dōTERRA, and really thrilled to get to be a part of hopping on this summer again, like we did last summer, to offer a little coaching, encouragement. Please forgive the background noise. I have two neighbors doing yard work, but that's just what's going on. Okay, so today I decided what I want to talk to you about is something called dōTERRA fatigue. I'm creating it as a condition. Let's just call it out. Maybe you need to self-diagnose yourself with dōTERRA fatigue. Maybe you don't, but that's okay. If you are not experiencing dōTERRA fatigue, that's awesome, but you might at some point, or you might have team members experiencing it. So it's something that we can't just always put our smiley face on and pretend doesn't happen, or that doesn't help anyone. So I just want to get in dōTERRA fatigue's face and just get real with you for a minute. So what is dōTERRA fatigue? How do you know you have it? What in the world do you do about it? Because it can flatline your business like nothing else. So let's just talk about some things that can go on in your head that are symptoms, maybe thoughts that you're having that are little red flags that you might be suffering from some dōTERRA fatigue. So thoughts like, I'm just so tired in relation to your dōTERRA work. I don't know if I have the stamina to push anymore. Have you ever thought that? There's no shame. You're not alone. You're not the weird one. We just sometimes don't. We're just not always transparent about that, but it's not uncommon. Maybe I've maxed out in my business. Maybe this is as far as I'm going to get. And then that can kind of rabbit trail into, well, maybe I missed the opportunity. Maybe the opportunity isn't the same like it used to be. Maybe this, maybe that, maybe, it's different now. Yeah, it is different. There are different things because business changes, markets change, technology changes, society changes. It's different. It's different than it was 11 years ago. That doesn't mean the opportunity has gone away. Okay, far from it. It's actually growing. But I'm not here to convince you of that. I'm just here to talk to you about thoughts and fatigue triggers. No one on my team is building, and I'm pulling all the weight. Nobody's doing anything. It's all on me. It's all on my shoulders. Any of these thoughts feeling familiar to you? So thoughts trigger feelings. What kind of feelings do those thoughts trigger? Usually feelings like fear, frustration. You can pop some in the comments if anything comes to you as you're watching. Feelings that you're struggling with right now. It helps to get it out. It helps to just share and not keep it all bottled up. Feelings of disappointment. Feelings of sadness. Maybe your business isn't where you wanted it to be right now. Feeling defeated. Maybe even feeling embarrassed. Those feelings of, I'm embarrassed because I said I was going to be here and I'm not. And I told my team I was going to be here and I'm not. And I told my family I was going to be here. I'm not there yet. Those are really, really exhausting feelings to have to deal with, aren't they? So have you ever heard, you probably have, it's really common, the saying that you are the sum of the 5 people closest to you? So that's why we have to really guard what voices we're hearing around us, because we, by osmosis, become that, right? So that's a really powerful thing in dōTERRA. And I want to just kind of give a side note before we really dive back into this fatigue issue. When we're on Facebook and we're in groups like this, aren't they such powerful tools? Aren't you so glad you have them to brainstorm with and have community? Love it. I'm a big Facebook person. You probably see me all over Facebook because I love it. I think it's I love community. And I love problem solving too. So I like to dialogue about problems and brainstorm solutions and do that on Facebook. But I just want to give you a little warning, because if you're the sum of the 5 people closest to you, and basically we become and we start thinking and believing whatever we're hearing evidence for, when we're on Facebook and we're in dōTERRA, or even in conversations or at events, and we're all talking about some of the thoughts that we're talking about today on a regular basis, maybe fear, and there's fear posts, and there's defeated posts. Those are not bad posts. I'm not saying don't post anything. I'm just saying guard yourself a little bit when you're scrolling, because that can really get into our heads, and it can just create more and more evidence for those thoughts, which really tanks us emotionally. So if you're concerned about having doTERRA fatigue, be mindful of that, because that is not going to energize you. So you may or may not need to filter or even abstain from scrolling through if you're struggling with this. Is that making sense? Okay, so we're going to kind of get back on track here. I just wanted to kind of do a little note about Facebook chatter. So what are some things that can trigger these thoughts? I could make a long list, but I narrowed it down to kind of 3 categories that I think can really trigger us into a place of doTERRA fatigue, which, by the way, doTERRA fatigue results in overwhelm, which results in non-activity or the wrong activity, and the ultimate result is usually a feeling of paralysis. Have you ever felt a little paralyzed in your business? Like, I feel like I can't even keep like chipping away at this. I don't even really know what my next right move is that's going to actually get me any results. And then you kind of get paralyzed because you feel like I should be doing this, I should be doing this, I should be enrolling more. Have you ever been like, I should be enrolling more, but you're so paralyzed because you're like, I don't even know, who am I following up with? How am I going to make these enrollments happen? Who am I presenting to? Because there's all these things that have to be in place to click in enrollments, right? So you get paralyzed. So where does that come from? Where does it originate? So I'm going to go over 3, what I think are really significant causes to be mindful of. One is some sort of measurable result that you're not liking the measurement of. Okay, so something has gone down or isn't growing where you want. So a dip in volume, falling back in rank, a lack of team engagement, your builders or team members pulling away from you, anything like that that just feels like decline. Okay, decline. And then what happens is in our head, if we're not careful, we see that measurement and we quickly jump to a conclusion that what it means is a downward spiral. It's just going down from here, okay? When it doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that. In our type of business, in entrepreneurship in general, and in network marketing, most definitely, we're riding waves. We're riding waves, okay? So when you're down in, a wave has a trough and it has a crest. When you're down in the trough, and some troughs are smaller, not quite so deep, and they're quicker, and you come out of them faster, and some are deep and they're long. But then the crest is coming. But if you get down in that trough and you think, oh, we're just going down the drain, it's really hard to pull yourself up into the crest of the wave. And that's how growth happens. You've seen those charts, right? You don't grow from nothing to top leader like this. You grow like this, and you build and you rebuild, and you build and you rebuild. So when you get in these little slumps, really mindful of your thoughts, because if you assign all this meaning to go, I'm doomed, this isn't going to work, you're going to self-fulfill that prophecy, and you're not going to climb back up, and you're not going to keep on going. So I'm just going to kind of throw some alternative reality at you while we're on the topic, because the reality is there's going to be people that rise on those crests, and the growth is going to happen. There's going to be people that haven't even enrolled yet that are going to become top leaders. All right. So, if you start thinking like there's nowhere to go up from here, it's inaccurate and you're sabotaging yourself. But that doesn't mean that all of us here in this group or on this live video are going to be the ones that make it, because it's really going to come down to what we're telling ourselves in our head. And are we going to be figure it outers? That's like my little term that I use, sort of a made up term. Be a figure it outer to overcome, ride back up that crest and keep growing? Or are you going to be one that just succumbed to the doTERRA fatigue that came in through those thoughts, and then looking around and going, oh, they're discouraged too. They said the same thing's happening. They didn't have, a great BOGO day, and I didn't either, or they lost some LRP orders, and my retention rate and my volume, and them too. I'm hearing it over here. It's building evidence. Therefore, it's all going down. I'm just trying to give you a little reality so that you don't fall victim to that. Okay, so that basically is a danger trap because of the self-sabotaging that happens from that self-fulfilling prophecy. It's because when you allow your belief to tank, you can't climb back up. So guard that belief. All right, I'm going to move on to the second out of the 3 triggers for doTERRA fatigue. Sorry, the machinery in the background's really loud. I hope it's not drowning me out here. Depression. Okay, depression. And this may or may not be something that you have the control to come out of. Sometimes depression has to do with the thoughts we're choosing. A lot of times it does, but sometimes it's biological, sometimes it's chemical, sometimes it's nutrient, sometimes it's life circumstances. There's a lot of causes of, this big wide category of depression, but depression will kill someone's business so fast. And this is the hardest thing as a leader, is when I'm coaching someone, I can't coach someone out of depression until they're ready to get help or coach themselves out of it or get medical treatment. So I have to put it out there, because some of you might be in this place of paralysis because you're struggling with depression and you might not even realize it yet. There is hope. There is hope. The answer is not the same for everyone, but I want you to be aware, and I want you to ask yourself, is that something in my life? It might not be, but for some of you it might be. So it's the worst enemy of building a business, because it just puts a cloud over you. And if you've ever felt depression, it just puts a cloud over you, it puts a weight on you. You almost lose track of time. It's like you're just in survival mode. And then when you do come out, you realize, like, all this time has passed and I went dark. And look at how much rebuilding I have to do. So recognizing if you're struggling with some depression is the first most important thing. Recognizing it. Ask your spouse, ask your close loved ones, ask those that are in your life if they notice some of the signs, because sometimes they see it before we can see it. So if you think you're struggling with depression, I'm going to give you a few tips. Recognize it, confide in people that love you, let light into it, don't hide it, because you need people to help you through depression. They can't save you from it, but you need some support. Self-care. Okay, especially if you're struggling with just a mild depression. I don't have chronic depression, but right now, but I will still find that seasons I start to go that direction, and I have to really be mindful of, am I on my LLV? Because I can be not disciplined on that. I'm going to tell you, I can fall off the wagon on my LLV, and I got to get myself back on. Are you on your LLV? Are you on vitamin D? Extra vitamin D can be key for a lot of people. I have to take extra vitamin D. Everyone in my family has to. We just get depleted really fast, and we need more than what's in doTERRA, and some people do. And do you need medical treatment? Okay, so you may need to reach out. I prefer to go to a functional doctor and get blood work done and just check some stuff out. So if you think you're struggling with that, just don't struggle alone. Don't struggle alone. All right. The third thing that can really, really cause doTERRA fatigue is when you're dragging the wrong people. Okay? Dragging people that you don't feel like are doing enough, and you're dragging them because you're like, I can't get there without my downline working. And so you're dragging. That is a heavy burden, and it will zap your energy so fast. If you are dragging people, it is not sustainable. You'll get fatigued, you'll get angry, you'll get frustrated at them, and you'll start to go down those thoughts, and your belief will tank, and you're just gonna think this doesn't work, or you've maxed out. You're not gonna go any farther. It not only does it cause frustration for you guys, it causes a lot of frustration for the people being dragged. And I've been there, I've done it, and I can't break free from it until I take ownership of it and realize I'm mad at their lack of effort because of my own actions. Because, the machinery stopped, yay. Because of the expectations that I have put on them in my own head. Because I have decided that my business is gonna be made or it's going to break depending on what they do. When I get into that mode, I get very frustrated very fast. It's not fair to them. It's not, even if you think, but they're the ones not stepping up. It's not fair to them that you've decided what they're going to be committed to doing, and then you're dragging, and then you're frustrated that they're not doing it. If anything, it annoys the heck out of people, and it makes them push back against you, and it makes them not really want to do it. It's just counterproductive. It's counterproductive. So let's talk about releasing people, and let's talk about bringing joy back into our business, because we want a remedy for doTERRA fatigue, right? We want a remedy. Last night, I was doing some yard work. Okay, I don't feel like I have a ton of extra time in my life for yard work. It's not my very favorite thing to do. It's been a little bit of a thing because we bought property in Oregon 2 years ago, 2.25 acres. And let me tell you, I am learning very, very fast that we're in the Willamette Valley. It is one of the most fertile places on the planet. Okay, talking vineyards, orchards. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, but everything grows like 10 times faster here, and it grows all year long. And it was overgrown when we bought it, and so it's a lot of work, and it's hard to keep up on. So I had this thing I got in my head last night where we went on vacation for the 3 weeks. We got a little behind. The weeds are overgrown. My husband got bombarded with some other work that he needed to do, some bookkeeping work. And so a couple of days went by where he wasn't doing it. And I tried to motivate my kids with cash to do weeding, and they did a little, and then they piddled out. And I just, like, nobody in the house was really just getting it done. And I was really busy with work, and I thought, I can't handle it, like, these weeds. And, you know, I wanted to hire somebody, and then my husband was like, no, I can do it. Do you know what I'm talking about? Real life, real family stuff. And I just had this moment where I was like, fine, I'll do it myself. And I don't know how I'm going to make this tiny little dent, but I got out there and I was pulling weeds and kind of trying to get myself in check so I didn't get a little resentful and bitter. I'm just like, there's, you know, I have a family of 6 here and nobody's out here doing this but me. Do you see how you kind of get in your head and you're building evidence? Like, they're all doing other things. I'm out here pulling weeds, and after I worked all day. Well, after a while, my 2 youngest kids, my 9-year-old and 12-year-old, came out. My husband came out, and they started doing yard work. I didn't say I wanted them to do it. I didn't nag anyone to do it. But after a period of persevering and working, people started to watch and think, let's go work on this together. Let's go do it. So remember, sometimes leading is not, I shouldn't even say sometimes, leading just is not about resentfully pushing people, pulling people, dragging people into work. Leadership is rolling up your sleeves and just getting busy and letting go of whether they're going to do it or not, and saying, well, I can't control what other people are doing, but I'm going to move forward and I'm going to do this. And sometimes it wakes people up and they see and they join in. Now I have 2 other teenagers that did not. Okay, they didn't join in. Maybe they didn't see. I don't know. Not everybody's going to join you. Not everybody's going to wake up and refresh themselves and say, yeah, I want to get in the trenches and do this with you. But some might. And you know what? If they don't, it doesn't matter, because you're going to move forward anyway without them. So now, as I was weeding, I got, you know how when you first start doing a dirty job like that, you're kind of like, ooh, there's a spider, and okay, I'll get my hands in there. And then, you know, give yourself 30 minutes, and pretty soon you're like, I am one with the earth, and I'm raking, and I'm filthy, and I've got stuff in my hair, and I'm just like, you just kind of get motivated to really get your hands dirty and get in there. So I'm in this mode. And I was like raking underneath shrubs and underneath trees where leaves had matted up over the year. I mean, places that hadn't been touched, that we hadn't touched, I mean, since we moved in, and probably weren't touched for years. And I'm clearing all this underground out. And as I'm doing that, I'm underneath this gigantic rhododendron shrub. I mean, it's like 20 feet tall. I'm standing under it. The branches are hanging. Over here's a giant hydrangea. It's beautiful. We're totally spoiled with beautiful flowers here. And I'm pulling weeds under there, and I notice thorns. Okay, thorns hit me. And I thought, blackberries, because we have the blackberries that are yummy, but they take over everything. They're like a noxious weed, and they're a nightmare to take out. So I'm thinking, I got to get these blackberries out of here. They're invasive. And then I happened to look down on the ground and I saw these really pink petals on the ground. And I was like, that's weird. What are those from? I look up, and up through the rhododendron branches are roses. There is this rose bush that's 7 feet tall, growing behind the hydrangea, that the rhododendrons had covered, which I love rhodies. They're so pretty. They're done blooming now, but they're so pretty. Totally hiding this rose bush. So I pruned it back, and now I have this 7-foot bright pink rose bush that you guys was stretching, trying to get in between the branches and couldn't even find a place to grow. I've lived here for 2 years. I've walked by there and I never saw that 7-foot rose bush. Okay, why am I telling you this? Because sometimes we're so focused on the people that we think need to be running with us. We're so focused on our qualifiers and these legs that we really need to grow to hit rank, the builders that we think need to be the ones to become solid silver so we can become diamond. We're so hyper focused on what they're not doing that we don't even see others that are ready for it, that just need our attention. And they're not going to get the nourishment to grow and shine until we can prune back the stuff that's overshadowing. All right? So releasing is not just about your mental health. Releasing is not just about ending the dragging people and fixing the fatigue. Releasing is pruning back what is robbing you of your attention, your focus, your emotional energy, and it's creating space for the right people to come on and flourish. And I actually believe in my life that there are people that I'm meant to lead that are ready for this opportunity. They might even be already sharing down on my team. They might be customers. They might be people that have never even enrolled in dōTERRA. But they're like the harvest waiting to be harvested. And God actually doesn't even let me see that or let them enter the scene until I've been willing to let go of the people that I'm dragging. And once I'm released, that's introduced into my life because I don't have the capacity to lead them if I'm completely preoccupied with other people that are not really where I'm supposed to be putting my energy right now. I've talked a long time and I should let you go now, but I want to end with this. I'm going to share a little happening from this week with one of my leaders, okay, that I work with on my team. And I didn't tell her I was sharing this. I won't share her name, but hopefully she won't mind. There was their conversation with some discouragement and some sadness around BOGO Day not having the results that were expected, just having a real lack of engagement from the downline around BOGO Day. Okay, that is like one of these measurable things that you go, oh my gosh, what is happening? It's a little bit scary. It's discouraging. She could have continued to go down that path of letting her belief tank and really spiraling down and it causing paralysis. But instead, she did a shift. She did a reorienting. You know what she did? She reached out and she found someone to offer to serve with a Symphony of the Cells oil application. And 2 days ago, she went to this woman. She gave her a Symphony of the Cells oil treatment. She just loved on her. She served her. She taught her how to help some of her health issues with oils. Not only does she now have someone that's wanting to use oils in their home, this woman said, teach me how to do what you do. I want to build a business like you. So had she just gone down that path of staying in that trough and thinking, I'm going all downhill from here, it's all unraveling, and that panic, she would have gone through a self-fulfilling prophecy and had a week of just discouragement and non-activity. But instead, she reoriented. She found someone to serve. She pruned back the dragging of the team that wasn't really showing up, and she found a rose bush that wants to grow and is reaching out for something. Do you see what I'm saying? So I want to leave you with the question: who do you need to let go of? Who do you need to release? Who do you need to prune back that you've been dragging? And who out there do you need to reach out and serve, offer to help, connect with? Who out there do you need to reach out to and actually invite into the business? Maybe it's a sharer, maybe it's just a customer, maybe it's someone you've never even talked to about doTERRA. Do you have the courage to go out and actually start asking new people to join you in this business? Because there is nothing more energizing than having new people that want to run, that are hungry for it, that want to grow. The fatigue will flee in a moment. You will be re-energized, you will have joy, you will have so much fun again in your business when you prune back and you go find your rose bushes. All right, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Thank you so much for giving me your ear. I hope that this served you well. Bye-bye.